What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and I am with Stefan.
Hey, I'm here today.
And we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be looking at Magic cards. So we've both played Magic, but Stefan has only really played Limited and Standard. And I've played Limited, Standard, Modern, Commander. Uh, and that's pretty much what I've played. Oh, Pauper as well. So I have much more grasp, and we're going to be going over cards, and Stefan's going to be telling me whether the cards are banned or not in Commander. So the first card we got is Braids Cabal Minion. It's 2 black for a legendary human minion, and at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact, feature, or land, and it's a 2/2. So Stefan, is this card banned or not in Commander?
I feel like looking at the costing costs, that's not bad. And we're talking about a singleton format. It's a legendary creature, so if you were real cocky, I guess you could make this thing your commander. But I think it's in black, so it'd be really easy to cheat it out. Hell, there's many black tutors too. And this seems actually pretty powerful for a magic card. I mean, you're just forcing them to sacrifice, and in multiplayer you get so much utility out of this. um but is it ban worthy? I don't think this card is banned because it also affects you. So
Final answer.
final answer, I don't think it's banned.
Okay, so this card is banned, and
Oh,
so this card was banned back in the day. It was specifically banned back in the day as just Commander. So back when Commander first was a thing, it was called EDH, and there was a list of legendary creatures that you could have in your 99 but couldn't have as your commander, and this was one of them. And the funny story about why this card got banned is not because of power level, it is because the rule committee, which is a group of judges and players who were tired of standard and other formats, who made commander before Wizards of the Coast adopted it, got wrecked by a commander, this commander so hard, they got so salty, and they tried to 1v like 5 this person, and their deck beat them, and they got so mad that they banned this commander.
what?
Yeah, that's
That
the
just
full
sounds like
story.
not even impartial at all.
That's the full
That's just
story.
stupid.
They used to the rules committee that still does the ban list for Commander. Uh, Used to post out articles on why they banned it, every card. Braids was that was Braids, but we're gonna move on. To,
0 for 1 for me, I guess. I mean, but that card just doesn't seem that abusive.
no, and this is also a card that a lot of people argue could come back because it's
You kind
they're
of threw
they're
me a curveball on that.
because there are they're in alphabetical order, so it's not like
Okay.
but yeah. All right. Next up, Coalition Victory. This is a blurry picture, but it's 3 and 1 of each color. For a sorcery, you win the game if you control a land of each basic land type and a creature of each color. It
God,
is
this thing looks so hard to cast, but I mean, once again, you could cheat it. Let's say you threw together a stupid Cascade deck and got to this. Even in Commander, as unlikely as that is, I imagine there's a Cascade deck that does stupid stuff. But like to control, if it was just every basic land type, busted. A creature of each color. So rulings wise, say I controlled a creature like um maybe a creature it's all color types. So
mm,
what's his face? For that annoying type of deck where Sliver. Because one of the Sliver Lords is all colors, isn't he?
almost all the legendary slivers are, but yeah.
Yeah, so like in that deck, I guess if you casted him and then cascaded into this or just cheated this, 'cause that mana cost don't matter. CDH, it you could generate as much mana as you want. I'd say this is bannable just because of not because of power, but for like the spirit of EDH is effectively do stupid stuff, generate mana, generate infinite combo stuff, and go off on your opponents. You know, all sit around, drink a couple of sodas or something, and eat Cheetos. So yeah, no, this is banned. Has to be
You
just because
are.
of how the format is.
If is that your final answer?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're correct. So there's still an argument that a lot of people say because that this card should come back because we still have more powerful cards and 8 mana usually should win you the game. And even if you cheat it out for free, the cards that there's usually better cards to do it and stuff like that or and everything. So some people argue it can come back. I think that it probably could as well. But yeah, this card is banned and it's one of the
even if
cards.
it came back just on your own kitchen table game, which is what all EDH really is. You guys could be like, yeah, no, let's not play win conditions. Like a lot of groups will ban poison counters because
Mhm.
that's just BS. A lot of people won't play against a deck that has poison counters. So, you know, you play that Igmith Moth or that one land that just turns itself into a creature and has poison, and they go, fuck it, I'm not playing this game.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm gonna move on because so you're 1-1.
And 1-1. What
To
else do you got me?
Cyclonic Rift.
Rift?
Yes, it is one to blue
So
instant
I
turn.
kind of figured you're going to pick this card. I haven't played EDH, played in a card shop in a long time, but I remember that a lot of EDH players really hate or love this card just because it's just, you know, it's stuff free. No one's having fun right now because someone will be like, I'm attacking, and says, someone got the Rift. Yeah, no, I got it right here. No, you're not doing that. I don't think this is banned though, unless it's happened in a more recent time, because I feel like this is just a blue staple card and it allows people to do fun stuff in Magic, EDH at least, and balance the game. So I feel like because you have to pay 7 for an overload cost, and that's a pretty hefty thing. Like without that, it's just a 1-for-1, really. So yeah, no, not banned. I kind of think this one is still fine.
You are correct. This card is not banned. So you are 2 for 1, and this card is still argued whether it should be banned or not because it is one sided, and most of the time, if this card resolves, you win the game. And it's very unfun, and a lot of people say it ruins the spirit of Commander. Me, as a control player, I think those people are just babies. But uh,
Yeah, but I also like I feel like because I've watched a lot of people play Commander. I mean, I worked at a card shop. It feels like it's one of those cards that needs to be in the format to just so that someone doesn't just immediately go off, you know?
yeah, the argument is that they're blue because before, right, when this card came out, the blue didn't really have any good board wipes. Now blue has plenty of good board wipes, so that's why people even at instant speed they do, but it's not one sided. Is why they say Psych Rift can go back, so it
Be
can get
honest, I
banned.
knew you were gonna pick this card by the way, because I was like, it's if you don't throw this card at me and ask me, it's just a game of you know. But also I thought, man, if he does throw it at me, maybe he's trying to catch me off guard though.
All right, so Dockside Extortionist. It's a
When
one
it
in a
enters
red.
battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is number of artifacts in this. Okay, and I remember what these do. I remember what treasure tokens do because I played a lot of sealed back when that was a thing. So he's just a 2-drop pirate, and you just generate. Man, if you could blink this guy, which is EDH, there's probably thousands of ways to do that. So let's say a white red deck, you could just ramp all day. Um, in standard play, I don't see this thing being super busted, but in EDH and it being a goblin and there being so many goblin lord like things that do cool things or cool ways to cheat goblins in, like, because you drop this guy, get the tokens, and you could heck goblin grenade him away and get something. I'd say in EDH is probably banned.
that your final answer?
Final answer.
It is not banned, but it is one that a lot of people want banned because, and a lot of playgroups ban from their playgroup because a lot of the time, once it's played, it just wins the game because most people have ways to bounce it a few times or stuff like, or blink it a few times, and it pretty much just goes infinite with itself, being how relevant artifacts and enchantments are in Commander, and so yeah,
Yeah.
so it is not banned, although it, a lot of people want it banned.
Jesus.
So right now you are 2 for 2, right? Number, or is this? Are you
Yeah, I've gotten two right, two wrong.
okay? So, Flash? You know what Flash does?
You may put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. If you do, sacrifice it unless you pay. God. Oh, like I guess Big Stompy would be interesting with this card, but oh man, if you could copy this and just puke your hand onto the field, that'd
Also,
even be crazier.
so it's worth mentioning that you have to sacrifice the creature immediately. Uh,
Unless you pay two, but that's
it
irrelevant. You just get that goblin in, generate a lot of things, and
well,
then just
you
have
pay.
the
You have to
mana.
pay its whole cost, the whole creature's cost. It just costs 2 less.
Oh,
To
oh yeah, no, I'm
specifically
reading
to
that wrong.
generic less.
But even that's powerful because I mean, you're paying two to bring out something for two less. And let's say I brought out a card that has a. Let's even say the card only had three mana cost and two of that was colorless. And I had to pay, like, say green would do this, pay one green for it. And then that creature comes in and I pay its cost because I'm going to pay it anyways. But he generates two and I have some way to copy Flash. Might be power. I think this is banned. Because I feel like you could just do stupid stuff with this because you're EDH and you have access to practically every card ever printed. There's got to be something that just reduces its that you reduce its cost and now you're just going super plus with this card.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer banned.
You're correct. So you're right for the wrong reason. So this card is
Okay.
banned, but it's not banned because of dumping your hand and everything like that. Like you said, it's banned for the old classic combo of Flash Hulk. So you flash out a card called Protein Hulk, and Protein Hulk says when it dies, you can put any number of creatures onto the battlefield
I know
whose
Protein Hulk, I know what he does.
yeah,
And then you just Cheerios out your whole deck because zero cost, right?
uh no. So with this one in particular, with the new combo, it involved a deck out combo and stuff like that, where you deck yourself out and then you'd win with something called Doss's Oracle. So uh this card is the only card that the commander ban list or whatever commander C that they actually balance for CEDA, because in regular commander there wasn't this card didn't do anything because most decks didn't want to play an instant turn 1 or turn 2 win condition with Flash Hulk. They just want to play their big dumb idiot cards and stuff like that that don't really fit into other formats. However, Flash was the one exception to it, and there was arguments whether this should be banned or Protean Hulk should be banned instead, because without Protean Hulk, this card actually does nothing, but Protean Hulk can still do things and stuff like that, but just doesn't anymore. No one really like uses it and everything
Yeah, I
too much.
remember when he came off the list, people were a little biffed.
We're gonna move on to the next card,
Okay.
Guy's Cradle, the legendary land, and it adds a green for each creature you control.
Yeah, I know what the like what $2,000 card does. For one, I know that EDH, as weird as this is, creates a value in the format, right? Because
Mhm.
it makes some cards that are otherwise unplayable playable, which creates a value. And I know that in the spirit of EDH, they kind of want it to be balanced vintage effectively. So even if this card wasn't unfair, which this card is totally unfair, especially in EDH, it would probably be banned just for the fact of how expensive it is. I don't know how expensive it is now, but I know that this is an expensive card for what vintage and legacy play. I don't remember if it's in legacy or not, but I'm gonna say this is banned. Just the spirit of EDH is we're not playing with like $2,000 cards.
So
Final answer banned.
you are way off. This card is perfectly fine, and you know what's funny about this card is that when I was looking up cards for this list on only one person, because I found a whole thread of people complaining about cards and stuff like that, for the not banned cards, but uh, this one was only one person really mentioned it, and so it's not really even on people's radar. And this card is perfectly legal in EDH. I know, and the thing about EDH is it affects card prices because it is the currently the most popular format of all Magic formats.
Mm.
Its barrier to entry is technically still low, even with absurdly expensive cards in the format, like Gaia's Cradle. But yeah, it. I also chose.
It wasn't banned, huh? That's
Nope.
crazy.
It was
Because I thought that it'd be like the spirit of it would be, well, you got that one rich person playing with the expensive cards. But I guess like that card seems good.
it is. It's very
And
good.
it's not terrible. It actually looks like you could ramp really nicely with it.
That's very good. Like, but
Like you just treasure map for it, right? Or not treasure map, or no,
expedition
treasure
map,
map, right?
expedition map.
Expedition map,
Yeah,
yeah. You know what map I was
and
talking
all
about.
the other land searches. But
Yeah.
speaking of land searches, next card's Primeval Titan.
Primal Titan.
Prime time, baby.
Here's Battlefield. I think I remember this card.
Enters or attacks. Who lands onto the battlefield tapped. You may shuffle your library.
Eh, yeah, I feel like this ramps, but for 6 mana, even if you cheated this guy, I mean, hmm. I could see this card maybe. I can't even think. Like, no, that's a tough one. Because on one hand, I could see this being banned just because of ramp, but by the time you ramp, the rest of the table should be able to deal with him. Maybe even counter him if someone's playing blue in your group, which someone should be playing blue. So, like 1v1, if that has a separate list, I could see this maybe being banned just so that it doesn't force everybody to play blue to counter stupid stuff. But in group play, this card seems fine. So, not banned. In multiplayer, banned in 1v1, maybe?
So
Final answer.
I have no idea if it's banned or not in 1v1, but it is banned in multiplayer. And
Really?
the thing is that it gets any lands, not basics.
Yeah.
And lands are both the are some of the most powerful cards in Magic and some of the most cards that feel like they don't do anything as well. It's like lands are really weird. There's tons of people that always argue come back for the same reasons you just listed as you could counter it, and there's three other people and stuff like that, and it's probably not going to get a chance to attack. Hopefully, if you are a responsible play group. However, there's an argument to be mentioned that this card is too good in one way or
You
another.
could blink it too, so.
Yeah, we're gonna
All right,
move.
next card.
Rustic Study.
Rustic Study. Oh, dude, this is just staple. And come on, you can't give me an easy one like this. This is staple blue card, man. Like,
Yeah,
this is not to say the terminology because it's so politically incorrect, but pay the man. Like, come on, this thing isn't banned unless they did ban it, but no, can't be banned. The Rustic Studies, like, oh man. No, 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 this card can't be banned.
but
It's just taxes. Final answer, not banned. Taxes.
you're correct. So it's
Yeah.
not banned, and I figured I'd give you some easy ones in here since I threw a lot of curveballs at you. Uh, the thing about Ristic Study though is it's this and Mystic Remora, which Mystic I didn't put Mystic Remora on here either, but both this and that card are both cards that a lot of people want banned, uh, because they find them super annoying and they tend to run away with the game. Because there's a lot of times where just because you're even paying a tax and all that, it slows all your opponents down if they are responsible and pay the tax to where
Oh hell yeah,
you could
rift
possibly
it
get
while
ahead.
this thing's out and the opponent's just set back so far.
Yeah, so either they pay the tax or you draw cards. It's basically like the max C of
Yeah.
Commander, and
I was
and
I was like, man, if this thing got banned, I'm pretty sure my YouTube would pop up. They just banned Rustic Study.
yeah.
Like, I don't watch a whole lot of videos on Magic, but I watch a little bit of them, not a huge amount. They still pop up in my thing, and if it's an interesting thing, I'll watch it because, learn about Magic's interesting. But most of mine are like modern and standard, and or this player was caught cheating. Here's how they cheated. The drama.
So we're gonna move to the next one, Scape Shift. So 2 and 2 green, sacrifice any number of lands, search your library for that many lands, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
So I feel like this card's probably banned in like modern. Um because there's stupid things you could do with like the Zendikar land, sack everything, bring out the lands, burnate your opponent. Or it might not be, but I mean, we previously talked about getting lands is really powerful in EDH, and my gut feeling is Scape Shift has to be powerful. So it has to be banned. I mean, you just sacrifice a number of lands, search for that many lands, put them onto the battlefield tapped. Oh, it doesn't matter that it's tapped. I mean, your opponent doesn't deal with you. You have what you need to stop them next turn because Magic lands actually have utility. So yeah, banned. Final answer.
So it's not, but there's a huge outcry that that people want it banned because this card, like Golos and like a lot of other cards that do this effect, do tend to dominate when they resolve. Funny enough, this card is perfectly legal in modern, and there was a whole deck
What?
around it. But
Yeah, I thought there was a whole deck around, but they didn't just smack that deck and go, no, don't do that.
no, because it kind of like faded into obscurity on its own. But
See, that's how long ago I played Modern, I guess.
but
I
this
remember facing this deck and thinking it was BS that I just lost to the Valdic volcano with a
mhm,
bunch of mountains.
yeah, this card is not banned, and I've played versus it, and I've played decks that use this card, and they do get absurd, and there's a lot of really powerful things you can do with it that feels completely unfair, and it's why a lot of people do want it banned. So it's not, but there is a like I guess it's a probably like a small corner of it and everything because people either love this card, hate this card, and some don't really have an
The
opinion.
title of this video is Stefan should just be an EDH player because he complains about powerful cards.
All right. Speaking of lands, this card might be harder to read, but this is Sylvan Primordial, and if it's too hard to
Enters
read,
battlefield for each opponent, destroy target non-creature permanent that player controls. For each permanent destroyed this way, search the library for a force card and put it on battlefield. Tap, then shuffle your library.
it also has reach.
Yeah, I saw the reach. I kind of skipped over that because reach is irrelevant. So, in multiplayer, like the more players, the more powerful this card is.
Hmm.
But it's just a non-creature permanent. This just seems like free removal if you get it out. This thing should be fine, right? Like, because what, max of maybe, usually play groups only get like 4 to 6 players, so that's 4 to 6 lands, or not, 4 to 6 lands you could effectively get out for destroying target permanent for each, plus each player has to have a permanent that's non-creature for you to hit. So that seems fine. 8, 7 with the most you're going to get on average 5 to 6 lands out of it with a 6/8. I mean, seems fine. Final answer. I'm probably wrong.
So this card is banned, and non-creature permanent also means they're lands. So
Oh, I didn't even think about lands.
they always have a non-creature permanent for you to destroy.
Oh
This
man.
so this card came out in Gate Crash, and that's around the time I started playing Magic in general. And I got into Commander pretty soon after Gate Crash, so I actually got to play against this card. And let me tell you something, it's fine in when your decks are low power level, but when you got a person that has a high power level deck and they play this on you and they blow up one of your lands or your best artifact or your best enchantment, and everyone else's, and then they get a bunch of dual lands because it says forest card, not basic forest,
Oh man.
onto the thing and fix their mana perfectly after ramping with, I don't know, maybe artifact ramp and stuff like that. Uh, and or if they're in a multicolor deck, it completely blows you out of the water. It is a very inconspicuous card, and all the primordials, by the way, care for each opponent and stuff like that. Uh, I don't remember what the blue one does and all that, but I remember that the blue one gets a instant and sorcery out of all the graveyards and stuff, and then the black one revives one from each opponent's graveyard.
Just that's crazy. I skipped over. I just immediately thought I misread because I immediately thought, oh yeah, it must not hit lands, right? But yeah, no, it hits lands. Holy crap. Yeah, no, that's just a strip mine, huh?
Mm-hmm. All right, last card, Upheaval. Six
Return all
mana.
permanents their own permanents. Oh god, that returns all. God, if this thing isn't banned, it should be because I mean, yeah, it returns your own, but I mean, being a blue player uses a tap 6, put them all back in the hand. Let's go back to basics. Game or back to turn 1. And yeah, no, this thing's got to be banned.
Okay, final answer.
Finally, it's Rift, but better. Even if it affects you, it's fine. Like, yeah, that thing's got to be banned.
You are correct. It is banned, but not because it's a board wipe. That's the fair way to use it. The way that this is used and why it got banned is it's not for a fair board wipe that restarts the game. It is for combo purposes. So the idea is that you go and you make a bunch of mana, you float a bunch of mana, and then you start playing everything again while your opponent doesn't have lands and stuff like that, and you just start going off and combo off and beat them and stuff like that. Because now they don't have mana, they are forced to float all their mana and stuff like that, and you are able to probably play out of it because you only play Upheaval when you think you can win, and then you can replay all your stuff like Darkside Extortionist. Although Darkside is not a good example with this card because they're not going to have their artifacts and enchantments, but there's multiple ways to gain even more mana and just play out your mana rocks and stuff like that. And your fast mana, which I didn't include any fast mana because it's the last card. I didn't include any fast mana because I felt like it was either going to be too easy or too hard. And fast
Yeah,
mana is a discussion for a different channel since we are primarily a Yu-Gi-Oh channel. But yeah,
fair.
uh, so overall, you got, let's see, you got this one right. This that one wrong. So 1 and 1.
Got
Uh,
escape shift wrong.
so Rustic Study you got right, so
So you
that's
got
two
right.
and two. You got this one wrong, so it's three and
Got that
two.
wrong.
This one wrong, so
Wrong.
4 and 2. This one right, but for the wrong reason, so four and
Yeah,
three. Uh, this one wrong,
wrong.
5 and 3. This one right, 6 and 3. This one right, 6 and 4, and then this one wrong, 7 and uh, 7 and 4. So yeah, so 7 wrong, 4 right. Is your total score. Overall, I did throw some easy ones and I threw some curveballs at you. I knew that cards like uh it's just so funny that that how it ordered and stuff, since I just went in alphabetical order and didn't really think about it, that I explained how powerful lands are, and then Scape Shift and then Sylvan Primordial came up and everything. And yeah, but overall I think that it's pretty interesting to look at other card games and stuff like that, and evaluate how they do stuff, especially something like Commander, which is 100 card singleton for all the Yu-Gi-Oh players watching. Um, so
Yeah, and my card assessment is really all over the place because, I played a lot of draft and sealed play and a little bit of standard. So, like, my assessment always is, oh, what does this do? Okay, I can read.
hmm,
Because
so
the famous phrase that I always said is, I stopped playing Yu-Gi-Oh for a while to go to Magic to learn how to play or how to read.
but that is gonna do it for this video. If it is your birthday today, happy birthday! And if you want to send me any cool deck profiles or replays, you can send them to JankyYGO at gmail.com. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful
Have a
day.
wonderful day.